She's still here. She still texts you every day. She still replies when you ask. She still says yeah, still says okay, still says it's fine. On the surface, everything still looks normal. But somewhere inside you, there's a feeling that's very hard to name. A sense that she's different. You can't quite tell when it started. There was no big argument, no intense confrontation, no breakup words were spoken. It's just that she's not the same anymore. Her voice carries less emotion. Her messages are shorter. Her eyes don't linger the way they used to. You didn't do anything clearly wrong, but you no longer feel needed the way you once did. And the most frightening part is that you can't point to exactly what's happening. Everything is too quiet, too orderly, too fine in a way that makes you uneasy, as if something slipped away very softly, without making a sound, without leaving obvious traces, leaving only a gap, even while she's still there. And if you're listening to this and feel your chest tighten, then maybe you're not imagining it at all. Most men don't lose women because of betrayal, arguments, or some major mistake. They lose her because of something far quieter. They fail to notice the moment she begins to withdraw her emotions from the relationship. Breakups rarely happen in a single day. They don't come from one final conversation. They start much earlier when she's still there, still smiling, still replying, but something inside has already changed. When a woman leaves emotionally, she usually goes ahead by weeks, sometimes by months. During that time, she observes, she tests silence, she lowers her expectations, she learns how not to need you the way she once did. And while you think everything is fine, she's actually preparing herself to leave without making a scene. That's why many men say, "I don't understand how she changed so quickly." The truth is, it wasn't quick at all. It just happened quietly, long enough that by the time you realize it, things are almost impossible to reverse. And the most dangerous part isn't that she leaves, it's that you don't even know which stage of that process you're standing in. These signs are not loud, not dramatic. There's no climax like in the movies. And because of that, many men reassure themselves that everything is fine, that they're overthinking, that she's just busy, tired, stressed from work, or in a certain mood. But the truth is, the most dangerous changes in a relationship always happen silently. They don't hit you in the face. They appear only in feelings, in small moments you usually overlook. So don't try to find one clear, undeniable sign. Don't try to prove that she's about to leave. Just be honest with yourself. If you recognize 2 or 3 familiar things appearing in your relationship, then your intuition is speaking correctly. And you don't need to react immediately. You don't need to do anything yet. Just observe. Listen to your own feelings. Because when a woman begins to withdraw emotionally, the very first thing that disappears is always the man's sense of safety beside her. The first sign, and the one most easily overlooked, is that she shows fewer emotional reactions because it doesn't cause trouble. She isn't angry, she isn't irritated, she doesn't nag. Those seemingly irrational arguments disappear. When you say something that upsets her, she stays quiet or gives a brief, dismissive reply. When you arrive late, forget plans, or act carelessly, she no longer reacts the way she used to. And many men think this is a good thing, that the relationship has finally become peaceful. But the truth is the opposite. Women only get angry when they still care. Anger means she still wants you to understand, wants you to change, wants the relationship to improve. When she no longer reacts, no longer argues, no longer bothers to explain, that's when she has begun to withdraw her emotional energy from you. She no longer feels the need to spend feelings on what happens between the two of you. And because this silence doesn't create pressure or tension, men easily overlook it. They mistake indifference for maturity. They confuse letting go with being easygoing, until one day, they realize the distance has already grown too wide. Arguments are noise, silence is emptiness. Number 2, no longer sharing emotions. The second sign appears very quietly and is often ignored because it doesn't create conflict. She starts sharing less about her day. Before, she might have told you everything from small details, passing emotions, to things that weighed on her mind. Now, her stories become shorter. A long day is compressed into a few brief summaries. Just normal, nothing special, a bit tired, and then silence. Many men think it's just because she's busy, or that as people grow older, they naturally talk less. But in a relationship, sharing emotions is a form of investment. When a woman is still in love, she wants you to know what she's thinking, how she's feeling, what kind of world she's living in. She opens her emotional door and lets you step inside. When she becomes silent, when she no longer wants to talk, it's not because there's nothing to share, it's because she no longer feels the need for you to be in that world. And because this withdrawal happens so gently, men often don't notice it. They accept the silence as normal, until they finally understand that she's grown accustomed to handling her emotions on her own. Without them, she doesn't speak, because she no longer needs you. Number 3, everything becomes polite. The third sign is often the most confusing for men, because on the surface it doesn't seem negative at all. She's still kind to you, she still speaks softly. She still replies appropriately, she doesn't get irritated, doesn't show annoyance, doesn't escalate anything, but if you pay close attention, you'll feel something colder than before. The familiar warmth is gone, the natural words, the genuine emotional reactions are gone. Everything becomes proper safe. This politeness isn't because she's become more mature, it's because she's creating distance. Politeness is a way to maintain boundaries without saying them out loud. When a woman is still in love, she doesn't need to be polite. She's relaxed, close, sometimes clumsy, sometimes emotional. But when she begins to withdraw emotionally, intimacy is gradually replaced by courtesy. And because this change doesn't cause conflict, men easily convince themselves that everything is fine, that at least they're no longer arguing. But the reality is this: when love is no longer close enough, it naturally turns into politeness. And that is when the relationship has entered its final stage, even though no one has said goodbye yet. Number 4. She no longer asks anything of you. The fourth sign is one of the most painful, yet it is often misunderstood. She no longer asks anything of you. She doesn't remind you. She doesn't complain. She doesn't tell you what you should change. The things that once bothered her are now brushed aside very quickly. When you do something wrong, she doesn't correct you. When you repeat old habits, she doesn't say anything. And many men think that, finally, she has accepted who they are, that she's become less demanding, less picky. But the truth is the opposite. Women only correct the man they want to keep in their lives. They only give feedback, remind, or get upset when they still hope the relationship can be better. When she no longer speaks up, no longer asks for anything, it's not because she's satisfied, it's because she has stopped expecting. She no longer feels the need to invest energy in changing you, and because there is no longer pressure, no longer tension, men easily mistake this feeling for peace, until they realize that the woman in front of them has quietly let go a long time ago. She's no longer disappointed, she has already accepted leaving. Number 5. Your time is no longer a priority. The fifth sign appears when you begin to feel that you're no longer a priority in her life. Before, no matter how busy she was, she still found ways to make time for you: a short call, a checking-in message, or a small window to meet. Now, you are often left waiting. Plans are postponed, dates are cancelled. The time she gives you becomes less and less, always accompanied by reasons. Many men mistake this for busyness, but being busy does not mean withdrawing emotionally. When someone still wants to stay, they will always find ways to make up for it. They will explain, apologize, and actively restore the connection. When she is busy without compensating, without trying to rebalance, that is when she is slowly pulling away. You're no longer a priority. You become an option nice to have, but not necessary. And because this process happens gradually, men often comfort themselves by saying it's just a phase, until they realize they're always the one waiting, always the one rearranging, always the one afraid of being a burden. The person who wants to stay will always find a way. The one who wants to leave will always find a reason. Number 6. She no longer reacts to your absence. The sixth sign is often the most deflating for men, because it strikes directly at the feeling of being replaceable. You try going quiet for a bit. You text less. You initiate less. Before, if you disappeared for even a short time, she would ask. She would worry. She would try to reconnect. Now, you go silent, and she doesn't look for you. She doesn't question it. She doesn't check in. She doesn't seem bothered. Everything continues as if your absence no longer creates any gap. When a woman is still in love, she's very sensitive to the disappearance of the man beside her. She notices the change quickly when she no longer reacts. It's not because she's become stronger, it's because she has grown used to not having you in her rhythm of life. She has already filled that gap with other habits, other interests, or simply with indifference. And because you don't see a negative reaction, you easily reassure yourself that everything is fine. But the truth is, when your absence is no longer noticed, the bond has already weakened significantly. She has practiced living without you long before she leaves. Number 7. You are always the one who feels not okay. The 7th sign is the one that makes many men doubt themselves. She says everything is fine. She doesn't complain. She doesn't seem sad. She doesn't make a fuss about anything. On the surface, it looks like you are the only one who feels uneasy, the only one who overthinks, questions, and feels unsettled without knowing why. And because there is no clear evidence, many men begin to deny that feeling. They tell themselves it must be because they're weak, because they think too much, because they lack confidence. But when a man is being emotionally abandoned, his intuition becomes very sharp. He senses the changes in the way she speaks, in her eyes, in the invisible distance between them. Men just aren't usually taught to trust that feeling. They learn to ignore it until it's too late. And while you're trying to convince yourself that nothing is wrong, the relationship is quietly drifting further away each day. If you have to ask yourself whether something is wrong, then something already is. The problem isn't that she is leaving. What's more frightening is that she withdrew her emotions from this relationship a long time ago, and you never realized it. There was no clear moment for you to grab onto, no warning loud enough to make you stop and look back. Just little by little, the connection between the two of you faded, and by the time you began to notice, the most important part had already left first. This video is not saying that every relationship ends, but if you recognize 2 or 3 familiar signs just now, then there is a truth you need to face. Understanding what is happening matters more than unconsciously trying to hold on. The next video will explain clearly why women do this, why they withdraw emotionally before leaving, and which signs cause so many men to stay too long, hoping for something that is already gone. If you see yourself in this story, don't watch randomly, watch in order, because the next part may send a chill down your spine.